What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. It is Monday, September 30th, the last day of September, and we've got a great show lined up for you. But it is on the darker note because we're going to be looking at some altcoins. Two of our fan favorites here, Cardano and Solana, both of them have unlocks coming in the month of October. And the question is, should you, if you are a holder, be concerned about a potential dump in price during the month of October, even if the rest of the crypto space moves to the upside? We will answer all of your concerns and explain the whole situation to you so you understand just how to move around your money, invest in the right things. We also have some bad news when it comes to the U.S. economy we have to address and make sure you're prepared for a major impact that could come to the markets over the next little bit. And the last thing is we also have a major price prediction for the next 18 months from a very special CEO. Stick around. Make sure you're here for the entire single episode. Make sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe. But first, we got to roll the intro. What is going on, T-Shroom? How you doing this afternoon?
Oh, this afternoon? I'm doing better than I deserve, Tim. How are you?
There we go. I'm doing good. I don't know if anyone noticed yet. I haven't seen it in the comments. You haven't said anything about it either. I cracked out the hoodies today. Yeah.
Okay.
Wearing out the Investing Bros hoodie.
Man, that's a good-looking hoodie, Tim.
It's a good-looking hoodie. We didn't make it. We had it made for us. But if you guys want hoodies in the future, we've had a lot of people with high demand for the hats. A lot of people signing up for our memberships just to get those hats. If you guys want more memorabilia from the bros, make sure you let us know. Maybe in the future we'll consider doing something. Maybe get a hoodie like this. Memorabilia, yeah.
I think it's called merch, Tim. Memorabilia would be if we were doing this like 60 years ago and people were... the memorabilia from the Investing Bros. Come on, Tim, step it up.
Time moves fast. Memorabilia in crypto is like from a week ago.
Philly Skills caught it too. It sounded like, I don't remember exactly what you said, but you said cracked out.
Cracked out, yeah. I cracked out, yeah. Well, that's probably not the right expression. Let's transition. Let's talk about money for a second, everybody. Let's talk about money. I have three announcements that are very important. If you enjoy money, you're going to want to hear this. Now, the first one is for one special individual. Today is Crux of Crypto's birthday. So all of these super chats from today's show will be going to say happy birthday to Crux. So if you guys want to get a question here, ask the pros a question. You're not giving anything to me and T-Shroom. It is all going to Crux. Have a way with that. Number two, what was the other thing we had to do today? I said there was three things. I think number two, as always, I want to make sure people understand. I think we're getting a lot of views today. I think a lot of people are very interested in hearing about Solana and Cardano updates. Remember, every time now on live shows, we get 600 likes here on YouTube, we will give away $50. So you do not want to miss that. And also, we're going to remind you at the end of the show, but you guys have about 9 hours from now and then 8 hours after the show to sign up for the Pro Bros memberships before prices increase. That's right. Tomorrow is October 1st. We've been telling you guys now for about a month that prices for our memberships due to demand is going to increase. But anyone who gets in now will be grandfathered in at the lower levels for the rest of the time that they're involved with the Investing Bros Discord. So you got a couple more hours left to act. If you've been on the fence about it, I encourage you, go ahead and do it today. With that said, T-Shroom, are you ready to get in and talk about
Are you ready to talk, Tim?
I might have been cracked out right there.
Uh-oh.
Are you ready to talk about crypto instead of just money now?
Tim. I am. Let's get into those bubbles.
Get some liquids down.
You're going to get some liquids. Now, Tim wouldn't share with me what's in the mystery bottle today. He gave me three guesses, and I failed all of them. He gave terrible answers. I gave him three guesses as to what's in my bottle today, and he gave one answer was legitimate. I'll give it to him. The other two were absolutely stupid. Maybe we'll explain later in the show. Let's go over here and look at the bubbles, T-Shroom. This is a lot more what I expected to see with recent down ticks in crypto. This morning, we actually still had a lot of green bubbles, right? Today, it's a sea of red, right? A lot of things are down pretty big. Some of the biggest ones, Arrow, 10.5%. Didn't mean to click on it. Sheeb, 8.4. WorldCoin, 8.5. Hex is the biggest, down 11.2.
But then you got some ones that we really like here. Ondo down 6.7. ADA, we're going to talk about that one today, down 5.8. Chainlink down 5.1. ICP down almost 6%. Where do we have? Because we're going to talk about Solana as well. Solana might not be one of the bigger losers just because it has such a larger market cap than a lot of these altcoins. I'm not even finding it on here. Probably popping off the screen. But either way, a sea of red today with a couple exceptions. Whiff, Bonk, Popcat. But I bet you these were just because these bubbles were a lot bigger earlier. Later on tonight, these are probably going to be red as well, completing the trifecta. I don't know why I said trifecta. Man, a lot of things I'm just saying, and I don't even realize what I'm saying today. Let's go take a look really quickly. I'm going to give you just a quick second of Bitcoin technical analysis, and then we're going to actually just get some Solana and Cardano updates. Before we even get into the news, just want to take a look at the charts. If you watched our morning show this morning, what we're looking at right now on a breakdown from this Bitcoin breakout is going to be a move potentially back down towards 60,000, around 60,100. We gave you a lot of reasons this morning in the charts as to why that is so significant. So go back and watch this morning's technical analysis. But what you should know, and I want to make sure I encourage you guys, even if the price drops this far, we're still looking at potentially setting a bull trend where for the first time since March, we have set a higher high here on the daily chart. Guess what happens, though, with bull trends? You get your higher highs and you get higher lows. But to get a higher low, you do have to drop. And as long as Bitcoin stays above 52,000, pretty much 53,000, we're going to be okay, ladies and gentlemen. The bull market is still intact. But when you want things to go up to the right, you got to deal with the volatility. And the volatility sometimes brings prices back down. Let's move on and take a look at our altcoins we want to take a look at today. Now, Solana had broken out of a bull pennant type of looking formation. Let's go to the 4-hour chart where it's a little more clear. And it had two different predictions we told you guys. One of them was going to be our more aggressive prediction from the bull flag itself. If you guys are wondering what I'm talking about, this explosive movement from back here on September 18th into September 20th, followed by a symmetrical triangle pattern. This would give us a breakout prediction for Solana to make its way up here towards 172. And that's technically not over, but we aren't going to do it in an explosive manner like we would have done the flagpole, which is a common way that these kind of break out. So I'm kind of leaning on saying that one is probably not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. But the more conservative price prediction, if you just take the opening of the symmetrical triangle and you move that over to the breakout, that actually did get hit. We almost double topped right at that level around 160. So there is your resistance. That's one reason why Solana, is dropping this morning and this afternoon as well. Man, where's my brain today, T-shirt? I don't even know. I did take like a little cat nap from waking up early this morning. Let's take a look at levels below us that are going to be very intriguing here for Solana. The first thing I want you guys to understand, let's take a look here. Did we ever officially get a sell signal? I think we did. I think you're going to find that this one's going to count right here, where we did get a red reversal right in here. We got a bearish momentum. Even though I like when these are higher, I would have preferred if this had matched up with a negative money flow right here. We didn't get the negative money flow and the bearish momentum till over here on September 29th yesterday. But there is our try buy signal or sell signal here for Solana. That would imply we should at least be coming back down here towards 151, back towards the 4-hour smart trail. But you're going to notice there's a take profit level down below us here on the 4-hour chart that to me looks a little more intriguing. 145 to 137 is the range. Let's go out to the daily chart and take a look at what we have going on here. And you're going to see this actually play out with both the Solana and Cardano charts. But let's take a look at another reason why we were rejected here with Solana and why a cool-off absolutely is in order. The first thing I wanted to mention is the red smart trail right here on the daily chart. Did we get a great buy signal back here on September 8th and 9th? Yes, we did. And I told you guys the trade would be where? Up here to about 160, give or take, up to that smart trail. After that, we would have to wait to see could it go even further. Well, again, like I just mentioned on the 4-hour chart, we're getting a lot of resistance right there. It does look like we're rejecting on that daily smart trail. When I come and look at our oscillators, we're not technically under a sell signal just yet, but we're looking very, very close. What I'm looking at right here on the daily chart, I do see this red dot. I do see right now we got to close today to make sure this lands, but I see a bearish momentum dot. The only problem is the money flow after being negative here for a couple of days, is slightly sideways and up. So if I can see at the end of today's close, this money flow does come back down, we get a close with that gray dot, this would be a daily sell for our Solana price action on the daily chart. Now, the problem with this is, though, you're going to notice we don't have a smart trail down below us. This strategy is beautiful. If we had a blue smart trail to the downside, that'd be an easy target for where we should go with a trade. For this, we're going to have to take a look at some other things, and this is about the level I thought. If you take a look at our order blocks, the next significant order block level, the next level of strong support to the downside could possibly be all the way back down towards 130. Do we need to go that far? I'm not necessarily certain we have to go that far, but it is something that I want you to be aware of. Let's take a look at the Solana liquidation chart and see where it potentially has long liquidations that could be an easy target. And you're going to see, even though 130, there is some more down here at 126. I looked more at the 140 area, back to the lows we had here on the 22nd, of September. Around 140, slightly below, is going to be a very interesting spot to keep an eye. That's going to be back down again towards these lows we had back on the 22nd. So two different targets that you guys need to be watching in a very minor scenario, right? If Bitcoin only pulls back to like 60,100, like we said, and nothing really bad happens with Solana, we're going to talk about the fundamentals here in a second with the recent news updates. The lowest we should go here on Solana really is only about 140, give or take. But if some negativity comes in and people get a little more bearish, understand that with this recent sell signal and with this order block down here at 130, that's going to be a major target, another major level of support that we've had for the last couple of months here on Solana. That is a potential target for the price action to go all the way down to. And again, we mentioned, even though there's not a lot between us and there is a massive, bright, long liquidations level down here at 126. So I just want to make sure you guys are ready for it. My guess, though, if you were looking for a short and you only shorted down at 140, 141 area, could be a very good spot to look for a take profit on that one. Again, we'll talk about the news here in just a second, but that's what the charts are saying about Solana. Let's take a look at Cardano, the other one. Same thing I told you guys in that smart trail on the daily chart and this major order block we rejected here a couple of days ago. This one, I do believe, already has a sell signal on the daily chart right there. Red reversal, bearish momentum that closed here like, a day ago yesterday, and we clearly have negative money flow there. So this is a sell signal, but once again, because we don't have our smart trail below us, you got to take a look at a couple different things. The first one I'm going to notice is this order block down here at 33 cents, which coincidentally, based off of how this thing could fall over the next couple of days, would put us back in a position to retest a former resistance level and break to the upside. Let me turn off some of the noise right here and just zoom out so you guys can get a better look at this. Cardano, just about a week and some change ago, broke out of a long-term falling wedge pattern. These are traditionally bullish, did not mean to draw that, and should see the price of Cardano shoot upwards of, let's break it out from this last spot, come back up here towards 53 cents. That being said, it is not abnormal whatsoever for when you get a breakout to retest a former resistance level, turn it into support. Some people would call this a bump and run. That's a pretty big move to the upside, but a bump and run nonetheless is something to definitely keep an eye on here with the Cardano chart. Another thing I'm going to keep an eye on, though, in a more conservative level, let's go ahead and put a line right there back. Oh, let me get that order block back up. Let's just make sure we get that order block. Let's put a line there. That's going to be a level to keep an eye on here. Turn off that right there. The other thing I'm going to keep an eye on is a potential trend line going in here. Let's make this line yellow. And we'd kind of run into this level somewhere here back at a former resistance level from the 13th, somewhere in this category of 36 cents. And I believe we're going to go take a look at liquidations here in a second. But I do believe, we'll make this one red as well. I do believe this is going to be a level of significant liquidations when we pull up this heat map in a second. Let's go ADA, USDT. Coincidentally, that's the 1 month. Maybe if we go down to like a 3 daily, we do see some interesting stuff down there. Well, not actually a lot of liquidations down below us here. I'm actually surprised about this one. I would have expected to see a little bit more. There you go. There's a little bit more down here, but you can see the majority of it actually been cleared out. So Cardano, I'm not even necessarily feeling as strongly bearish on this one as I was maybe on Solana. Keep an eye on this one, though, but I do think of a revisit to 36 cents just from the momentum that we're under. The sell signal we have, a minor pullback, at least to this trend line, seems extremely likely. Then after that, the decision becomes, does a 33-cent Cardano is that required? Is that necessary? But I just want you guys to be prepared for a pullback and explain why this is happening. No, it does not kill the bullish momentum for either Solana or Cardano. These would still be higher lows in a more recent higher high action. You can see Cardano beat that high from back here in August on the 24th. Solana, did we actually set a higher high on Solana? We didn't, right? So Solana doesn't get the same bullish credit that some of these other altcoins did. We now have a triple top pretty much here at 161. We need to get above there. We need to get that back above there to get more bullish on Solana. I'm not trying to scare anyone. Don't want anyone to feel like I'm saying Solana is a bad hold. I'm just objectively looking at charts and telling you we have a lot of altcoins doing some good things, some bullish signs. Solana has not yet set a higher high since this big pullback that we had since March 16th. When we hit March 17th, we hit those all-time highs. There we go. There's our technical analysis for today. Like I said, later on in the show, if you guys want to do some more, the number one way to make sure we cover your coin is to give a super chat, with all proceeds going to Crux for his birthday. We did get a super chat in here, so let's go ahead and read that one. Eric Wallen. I'm always scared when I see a message from Eric Wallen that I have to read. All right. Buy a poop coin on me, Crux. Happy birthday, buddy. That wasn't so bad. Thank you so much, Eric Wallen. $5 goes to Crux. Again, if you guys want to wish Crux a happy birthday, you can say it throughout the show. But if you want to give him some cash on his special day, go ahead and give a super chat. We're not going to do the math also where it's like, oh, we'll give him what YouTube gives us, because I think YouTube takes like 30% of super chat money. FYI, just so you guys know. We're going to eat it. Whatever you guys give, the bros will be giving to Crux. So don't worry about that little minute detail either. Let's go on and get into the news T-Shroom. We just did some Cardano and Solana technical analysis. Even before looking at the news, we see charts that were overextended, hit major levels of resistance, and are looking at price action to the downside. But from a fundamental side, from a news side, why is there another reason why people who are holding these coins should be looking? I'm not even going to say selling. Like, I don't want to spread FUD. I want to make sure people understand we are not saying to sell your Solana or Cardano, because what we're about to get into is going to be very minor in the grand scheme of things, but it's going to be giving us levels and reasons to wait for lower prices before we buy the dip. T-Shroom, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, so we have an article about this very topic because, Tim, in case you didn't know, coins have unlocks. Cardano and Solana set to witness large token unlocks in October. If you're watching from the stocks world, you can kind of think about this as issuing new shares, in a sense that it adds to the overall supply and dilutes each share, or in this case, coin. According to disclosure from blockchain reporter Colin Wu, Cardano will unlock approximately 37.06 million tokens worth $14.34 million, which constitutes a very small fraction, just 0.10% of its circulating supply. Meanwhile, Solana is preparing for a much larger unlock of 524 million tokens valued at 81 million, accounting for 0.11 of its supply. So, going to stop there. Tim, so far, this article obviously kind of coming down on one of the coins over the other. Now, the numbers are bigger. The numbers are objectively bigger. Right. 1 is not 2. 2 is double of 1, right? 6 is double of 3. Wow, T-Shroom doing some math on the fly. But overall, is this, as a holder of Cardano and Solana, of which I know you are, do these numbers have you shaking in your boots, these percentages of overall supply? There's more to this article, but just right there, what is your thoughts on that?
And Eddie, I'm going to say no, and then Eddie PT gives something good. I don't know this one, so we're going to have to double check this. Eddie PT says, that is wrong, guys. Go check it for yourself. Cardano is half of that. I wonder if he's saying half of that unlock is happening. We're going to keep going with the article, but I want to make sure people understand why I don't think either one of them is significant. First of all, 0.1% and 0.11%. Why would we say 0.11% is so much larger than 0.1? Is it a lot more money? Is it a lot more unlocks? Yes. But that split, I think it was 14 versus 81. So we're looking at pretty much a 1 in 6, 1 in, like there's 6 times. I'm not not going to add that math right at the top of my head, but it's roughly 6 times more unlock happening to Solana space. But if you go look at the market caps, I mean, it's not quite the same, but Solana's market cap at the minute is 72 billion versus Cardano's only 13.2 billion, right? So we're also talking about, $81 million obviously is a lot more than 14 million, right? You don't need a math degree. You just need basic arithmetic to understand that which number is bigger.
That's right.
But we also have a much larger market cap. And so 81 million of 72 billion a larger percentage than 14 million coins compared to $13 billion of price action? Yes, technically Solana is a little bit more severe, but not enough to really make anyone freak out whatsoever. This part of the article, I do think, was a little bit more, hey, we got to sell the article, we got to get out there, and they're scaring people, but that's why we chose it as one of our top stories, because we knew there's going to be people out there who saw this and potentially thought, man, I got to run and sell all of my Solana and Cardano. We wanted to break down all the details here to help you better understand what you should actually be expecting. And right now, let's call both of them 0.10%, 0.1% of what we actually are going to see of the total supply coming out. That's not something to be worried about at this point. But let's continue. Let's hear more about what this author says and examine what people should think about it.
Yeah, so the article kind of goes on to get more into the history of the token unlocks, questions about transparency, especially regarding tokens held by the Solana Foundation and early investors, have raised some concerns in the community. On the other hand, Cardano has had a more conservative tokenomics model. Historically, its unlock events have not been as frequent or as large as those of Solana. Since its launch in 2015, Cardano has followed a more deliberate and slow release of tokens, with major unlocks tied to the project's various development phases. So, overall, the facts here are the facts, right? But why even point this out, I guess, is my question. Why is this article going to such great lengths to point this out? And I think it kind of goes to show that there's still quite a bit of competition between Cardano and Solana. For those of you listening, you may not think there's any competition. You might think that Cardano is far and away way better than Solana. Or on the flip side, you're thinking Solana way better than Cardano is not even in the running to be compared to Solana. So, I think that there's never going to be an end to the competition between Cardano and Solana. I think that our article continues to show that's definitely true. As far as these unlocks, I'm both a holder of Cardano and Solana, and I'm not selling either. Definitely not based off of this article. So, Tim, that's kind of my conclusion on it.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'll give this article some credit on where it said that is, we do need to look at tokenomics for these coins. I do agree, though, with someone here in chat. Who said it? I don't know. Someone in chat just said this article is clearly written by somebody who doesn't like Solana. I'm not going to say clearly, but I will say I believe it's a little unfair towards Solana. But what I need people to understand here, let's go to my chart real quickly. Cardano, as it mentioned, has been extremely transparent with how the tokenomics work. Currently, there's just under 35 billion tokens in circulation, but the most we'll ever see is 45 billion. Cardano is not only transparent in telling us what their schedule is to release them, they're also transparent with telling us when we get to that you will no longer ever have to worry about more of these coming in. On the other hand, when you go to Solana, and I'm not going to try to FUD them, I just want people to be aware of this information. When you go to Solana, the circulating supply is sitting here right now at 468 million tokens. The total supply is 585. What that would imply right now is of the tokens that have been created, 585 million of them, we have 120 odd or almost 120 million tokens locked up. We still have 468 million moving out. But this right here, you guys see the infinity symbol. If you guys can zoom in there, max supply infinity. What that means is, technically speaking, and there's a lot of coins like this, technically speaking, they could just print these coins into oblivion and then you could have inflation just like the US dollar. Do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not. In fact, I was one time an anti-Solana person myself. I think a lot of the space was. There were some things about Solana that just rubbed people the wrong way. There were question marks that just didn't seem to have answers. I think the Solana team has done a fantastic job, though, in the last year of putting people to ease about the tokenomics of what's happening. So while I think there's a little more sense in the article when it goes that route, saying that Cardano's been completely transparent, Solana isn't necessarily being transparent, I think there's a level of that's like, okay, that's plausible, but if you watch what Solana's been doing over the last year, I don't think there's any people that are really studying this and know what they're talking about that still have concerns about the long-term shelf life of Solana and what the team's trying to accomplish. It's something to keep an eye on for sure, but even this, having this scheduled unlock, we know exactly what day and how many tokens are being unlocked. To me, that's transparency. You just don't want to get hit from a blind side by these unlocks, and you have no idea they're even coming. You don't want to see things. I don't really want to poop on another coin, but it is what I'm doing here. If you look at like XRP, for example, XRP claims to do one thing, and then all of a sudden you'll get these surprise unlocks from the foundation. That's like, hey, you didn't say you were going to do that. We weren't prepared for that. Why did that happen? You're not seeing that happen from Solana. You're seeing Solana be pretty transparent about their unlock schedule. So I'll have to kind of side with this is pretty much a FUD article. But again, if anyone's wondering, why did we choose it then? Why are we talking about this? Because there are probably a lot of you even out there who might have seen some misinformation on the internet. Maybe you read this article and you didn't know how to break it down. We want to make sure you guys understand very clearly what is going on. Is there actually a problem with Solana and Cardano, or is this a normal process? And right now, even after hearing the arguments, I don't know if there's more to the article, T-Shirt, but I'm looking at this and saying 0.1%, not a big deal. Transparency, not a big deal. Like, they're being pretty transparent, both of them. I do not believe this is a problem. Again, I showed you on the charts what the potential could be for the pullback. If you just joined us, go back and watch the chart section. We looked at the charts for both Cardano and Solana, but I do believe I'm going to grade this as a FUD story that's coincidentally marked at the same time as the charts are saying a pullback is necessary, but that doesn't mean it's time to sell all your Cardano and Solana and the bull market is over. Once again, it is just a higher low coming in a normal bull market that it doesn't just go up and to the right. It has its pullbacks as well. That's what's happening right now with these tokens.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the only data that's kind of here that we didn't pick out is other unlocks. So Near Protocol will unlock 2.9 million. That's just above 0.25% of its circulating supply. Avalanche doesn't give a percentage, but it's going to, the schedule unlock is 700,000 tokens, amounting to just under 20 million.
Yeah, and you got to think about it. Their total circulating supply right now is 406 million. Yep. 715 million in max supply. That's 700,000. It's not necessarily that big of a deal either.
Yep. And there's some others, but we'll keep moving here. Next story, because there's actually a decent amount of news here, Tim, so we want to keep moving. Fed
real
Bostic.
Quick, let's do some super chats real quick then. Before we transition. Let's get some super chats. Carlos C says, what are your thoughts on Moonwell and what price point is a good entry? Thank you guys. Keep up the good work. We're going to be brief here, Carlos. Never even heard of Moonwell. T-Shirt, have you heard of it?
I have heard of it, but I don't know anything really about it. No, Moonwell, ticker WELL, W-E-L-L, has recently migrated from their old contract to a new contract. That's not necessarily the end of the world, but something to think about there. The market cap here, 97 million. Just under 98 million there.
No, yeah, that's not. That is a small market cap right there.
Very small,
Carlos. I'll tell you this, Carlos. If you were if Crux wanted to go deeper in that in our trading group or in our investing group, you can. That is definitely a risky play right there. Not going to talk too much about it here on the YouTube channel. That is not something I would recommend any new investor go chase. Very risky. Very, very risky investment right there. Unless you know a lot about the founding team, unless you know a lot about what's happening in the competition space, only having being less than 100 million, heck, being lower than 1 billion puts you into a kind of risky area at the moment. I'm not going to mess with that too much. But thank you for the super chat. Happy birthday to Crux. J-Rock just wanted to give some money, so thank you, J-Rock. Oh, to give another one. What is your thought on Pith? Listen, I said last week, Pith is one that I think I need to go ahead. I don't own any at the moment, but of course, it's the one that most people say, like, hey, you want to make more money than even what you're going to make with Chainlink? Go with Pith. And the best way to kind of explain that one, if for anyone who's been in the space for a while, if you know about XRP, there is a little brother coin to that you call XLM, Stellar Lumen. But coincidentally, every time XRP would move, XLM would move as well. And a lot of those times, XLM's gains or losses would be a little bit higher than of XRP. I think Pith could have a very similar relationship to Chainlink, where Chainlink's clearly big brother. Chainlink is clearly the higher coin that's going to have a higher market cap, going to have way more adoption from the institutions. However, Pith has a smaller market cap, which means a $5 million increase, or let's go a $500 million increase to the market cap is going to have a much bigger price effect for Pith than it would Chainlink. So I think that's one to keep an eye on, is saying, hey, I love Chainlink. Let me choose this little brother as well that's probably going to trade in a very similar format. Let's go with Pith. That's why I'm looking to pick up some here.
Yep.
Pith out there.
Yeah, the class Pith is it's a good one to hold, I'd say. It's a Oracle play on Solana, right? So it's on the hot chain Solana, and it's also a competitor to one of the hottest coins in general, Chainlink, right? So, it's a good move. It's you kind of can compare it on the stock side. What I think it's called Supercomputer is a much smaller chips maker compared to Nvidia. It's kind of a little bit of a comparison there. Obviously, an Oracle is not a chips manufacturer, so clear distinction there. But Pith, good one to hold for sure. All right, let's keep moving here.
We have one more. Coreboat, sorry, one more. Yeah, Coreboat said happy birthday, Crux. Oh, more? There's more. I was taking notes on them. All right, let's get it. Corebone says, happy birthday, Crux. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so much, Corebone. Thank you for the money for Crux. We got one from Sanjar. Said, yo, bros, I hope you had a great weekend. When XRP moons, can it negatively affect other coins like Chainlink? I don't think so, Sanjar. I think when XRP moons, the crypto markets and moon as a whole, there's money to go around for everybody. But thank you so much for that.
Real quick, if there's a reason why XRP moons, then potentially. But, I think it's a small chance at this point. I think it's a small chance. If
the story is every major bank in the world and Swift choose to switch from Chainlink to XRP, then yes, Chainlink would go down and XRP would go up. But I don't anticipate that article coming out. That's not on my bingo card.
We did
Drew P.
Nope. Well, just real quick on that note, we did have some news over the weekend. I think it might have been Thursday or Friday. Didn't cover it on the show, but MasterCard's one of MasterCard's major members, one of their major leaders, did mention Chainlink, XRP potentially replacing the Swift network. Right? It sounded like the tweets that I read said that it was going to replace it, but then if you actually listen to the clip, it says it's not going to replace it. So the market at the end of the day is what's going to be the arbiter of truth of what actually is going to happen. And Chainlink, it went XRP, it did have a pop to the upside, but if it was going to replace the Swift network, you would have seen probably multiple hundreds of % gains in that day. So definitely not confirmed. And I would say if you're putting your hope in XRP, I hope you're diversified into other assets as well. So don't.
Last one here. Drew P said, hey, Tim and T-Shroom and Crux. Drew P here, your favorite bro in chat. Happy birthday, Crux. And for the record, Drew P is my favorite bro in chat. That last part was just me. It wasn't even the super chat.
Very cool.
Just kidding. That was part. Thank you so much, Drew. All right, let's get back into it. Thank you for all the birthday wishes for Crux. Let's get into the news, T-Shirt. What else you got for us today?
Fed Bostic says he is open to another 50 basis point interest rate cut in November. I've got the Polymarket predictions here for November 7th is the next Fed decision. So far, 25 basis points is in the lead by a mile here, up 64%, 50 basis point trailing 32%. So it's definitely too early to be digging our teeth too deeply into this one, but the Fed did come out and give some perspectives today, including Fed Chair Powell, but there weren't really any revelations that came of that speech. So we'll keep moving.
If 50 basis points makes some people think that the Fed knows something we don't know, another 50 basis points and going in two meetings 1% down in our interest rates, that would cause a lot of people to be iffy. So we'll have to continue to wait. We don't get those numbers till after election. I mean, we might actually get those numbers before we know who the next president is.
2 days after the election.
But again, I've said this is an election. I think potentially it could take a week or so before we actually know. But Everything right now is pointing towards 25, and I think that should be the assumption. But I'm going to learn from my mistakes. I was pretty confident about 25 in the past. We had 50. I was wrong. So while I'm still leaning towards 25, me more than other people are willing to say, you know what, 50 could happen again, just because the Fed isn't really making a lot of sense right now. So we'll kind of continue to monitor that as it gets closer.
Yep. All right. So let's keep moving here. Ohio State Senator Naraj Antani introduces bill to require Ohio to accept Bitcoin for taxes. Let me know in the chat. I'm curious. Would you ever pay your bills in Bitcoin? And would you ever pay your taxes in Bitcoin? Let me know, because I don't think that I would. I think I'm going to hold on to my Bitcoin.
I thought about that T-shirt. If you were not finished, I thought you were transitioning. I wanted to get a thought in there.
Get your thought in there, Tim. Get your thought in there where you can.
Yeah. I was in camp, never use my Bitcoin for anything whatsoever. And there's going to be a lot of people that stay in this camp. I don't know the answer to my question I'm about to ask, but if the answer was no, you would not have to pay an additional, movement or tax or capital gains. The advantage to being able to pay your taxes in Bitcoin or paying any type of bill in Bitcoin, rather than having to pay in US, let's just say right now I put a large portion of my money into crypto, into Bitcoin, but then I need to go pay a tax or a bill, and so I have to liquidate it, turn it into US dollars to pay that bill. Now, all of a sudden, if I'm in profit, I'm paying capital gains. Yes. If they allowed me to pay taxes in Bitcoin and avoid the capital gains for doing that, it would allow me to put a lot more of my wealth into Bitcoin, understands I'm not going to have to pay a capital gains tax for this to pay a bill or a tax in this level. And so if that was the case, actually, I would pay in Bitcoin. I would not really have any savings in my bank account. I'd pretty much have all my money in Bitcoin, but I would pay in Bitcoin if I could avoid the capital gains in doing so.
Yeah. And I think that's a tricky one, right? Because you could say the same thing about the S&P 500, right? I'm sure there's a lot of folks on Wall Street who would say, hey, I would pay in shares of Microsoft my taxes if I didn't have to pay capital gains taxes. So Bitcoin, future of currency, may have a bit more of a claim to Washington passing something like that. But let's keep moving here, Tim, because we've got a thick story here. East Coast port strike. Truckers, rails scramble to move billions in cargo before ILA union midnight shutdown. Tim, we've seen strikes before. Is this one any different? We'll get into the details here so that we can bring some clarity to that question. For the week ended last Friday, nearly $14 billion in trade arrived at these ports, including New York, New Jersey, Baltimore, Norfolk, Virginia, Savannah, Georgia, Miami, New Orleans, and Houston, with $2.7 billion in trade arriving on Friday alone. The International Longshoremen's Association said in a statement on Monday that its wage demands were still not being met and blamed port management for a strike that will start at midnight on October 1st. I'm sorry, that would be not midnight, the very first minute of the day on October 1st. So midnight tonight, essentially. Time isn't on the side of importers, a logistics CEO told CNBC. So this could potentially cost $14 billion a week for these ports to be shut down, right? If the longshoremen refuse to come to work or refuse to do any work at the ports, this could be catastrophic, Tim. Now, all of these strike stories could be catastrophic, right? They could be, and we know that because there was a shipping container that was stuck, as you'll remember, in I think it was the Red Sea or one of the major trade ports, trade straits, and there was literally billions of dollars, I think every hour, that was being kept from being able to be transported. Now, eventually it was transported, so it wasn't like all that was lost, right? But contracts were going bad and things like that. Anyway, so we've seen these strike headlines come and go, and usually what ends up happening is they meet a deal at the final hour, right? Or they don't, but then they meet the deal like the next day. And the worst case scenario here is not that they don't meet a deal in the next 24 hours and they lapse through this imaginary deadline. Right. The real bad scenario would be if they go weeks without, or even a week without reaching a deal, because then that's going to be material losses to the U.S. economy and global economy. So we don't want this. But more than likely, this isn't going to affect crypto unless it got really bad. I think probably you need 3 or 4 weeks before this started getting really bad. What is this going to affect? It's going to affect companies like Walmart, IKEA, Samsung, LG, Home Depot, tire companies, Hyundai, Dollar General, General Motors, Amazon, companies that unless you're an active investor in the stock market, you probably don't have a ton of exposure to. Maybe you do through your 401k. But top U.S. importing companies exposed to the impending port strike, that's what these companies are that I just read. Walmart far and away the most exposed, but IKEA and Samsung not too far behind there. So, Tim, we've been reporting on strikes of all kinds. I think one of the bigger ones was the UPS strike. Was that one was pretty big. What are your thoughts here? Yeah, what are your thoughts here on this one for investors?
Yeah, if something really bad happens and they go a long period of time, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough for the economy. It's going to be rough for the markets and everything else. Why is it not going to happen? Guys, we're inching very, very close to election, the actual election. Yeah. Let's get a little political here. We're not going to go deep down the political rabbit hole, but let's get a little political here. I am Kamala Harris. I'm on her side. I'm trying to win a very tight election right now. I cannot afford for anything to look like the current administration is doing a bad job. Even though sometimes she says things along the lines of like, I'll fix all these problems. Like you're the ones that made the problem. Anyway, the point is they're not going to let a disaster happen this close to the election. It would be elections. Almost said a bad word on the internet. Election unaliving yourself. That's not going to happen. They're going to come in. The companies are going to fix something. The government's going to fix something. They're not going to allow this to be a problem that affects the voter, right? That's the good thing about election seasons. During the election season, everybody's vying for your vote, so they're going to do things that try to help you out. Now, it'd be nice if we treated Appalachia the same as we treated Ukraine, but that's a different note altogether. We aren't going to go down that rabbit hole, at least on this show. My overall point here, though, T-Shirt, I'm not worried about this being a real problem. Again, because it's a political issue, they're not going to allow it. They're not going to allow it to become a politically motivated point that Republicans can use against Democrats.
Yeah, it's definitely the political angle can definitely be leveraged in this, and you could say that Republicans are going to gain an advantage by this story existing. So to the extent that Republicans are in charge here, they may pull this one out because while it may have an economic loss, it could have a political gain. That's not for me to do the calculus for. It's for, I don't know, I guess somebody sitting in offices in Washington to try to sort out whether that's worth it or not. Okay, we'll move on here, bros. I wouldn't be too worried about this story. For the reason A is because usually these come across our desk and usually they get sorted out one way or another, and then they become a non-issue for the economy again. However, and then point B is, it's going to take weeks before this starts to be economically significant. $14 billion is a lot of money, right? But that's going to be suffered through Walmart, right? And unless you're sitting there trading Walmart all day or you're invested in Walmart, that's not going to hurt you too bad. Mm-hmm. It's week 3, week 4 that the stock market as a whole probably starts to sell off because everybody's got exposure to those import-export companies on the ports. All right, moving along here, we're going to hear from a Bitcoin mining company, and we've actually had a request in the chat for some Marathon Digital TA, so we might pull that up as well in addition to CleanSpark. Bitcoin price to $200,000. CleanSpark CEO says it'll happen in 18 months. Let's read into the details here. He said, I believe we could see Bitcoin peak just under 200,000 sometime in the next 18 months, he said, adding that upcoming U.S. presidential election could play a significant role in driving this price movement. It's less about who wins and more about the election being over, which brings certainty. We're going to pause there because, Tim, we've been saying this. We've not been talking politics all that much, but there was a point in time leading up to the last debate where we were kind of discussing some of these political issues more and more, and I said, especially as it relates to Bitcoin's price, which has been sideways since March, in case you haven't noticed, between 55 and 70 price levels. that really the big catalyst was the Fed making their decision. That decision's been made. It was made in the bullish direction, right? However, the second one is the election, and it is not over. But I have said, and I think you've said to some extent as well, that it's less about who gets elected, although there is a candidate that is more bullish than the other, but it's more about the certainty returning to the market and the chips falling where they may and the dust settling in these giant hedge funds and giant banks being able to have more clarity about what's coming in the future so that they can invest accordingly. So Tim, do you think that it's changed? Are you surprised at CleanSpark, the CEO of CleanSpark's position here?
No. I think honestly he gets a pretty similar level to what we've talked about. I mean, we have a video that just went out about our price prediction for Bitcoin by the end of next year, probably being right above 200,000. We've said before as well, like, do we potentially have longer term situations that could get better or worse depending on who wins president? Yes, I think there is some major implications for the long term, but in the short term, for this bull market, I agree. I agree with Zach here. Yes, I agree with Zach that let's just get through the election season. Once it's over, even if the outcome doesn't go the way people want it to go, I still think the markets go to the upside. I still think things happen to the upside, at least for a couple of months, if not a full year, to the end of 2025. So I'm in full agreement here. Don't really have a lot to add to his story.
Very cool, Tim. Well, we'll keep moving there. There's another quotation. The best use of our capital is to get as much Bitcoin today as we can, he said, and added that consolidating the mining space and securing efficient power contracts, CleanSpark aims to capitalize on the anticipated market surge. So in case you did not know, Bitcoin is mined, right? It's different from Cardano or Ethereum that is proof of stake coins, right? And they are secured by folks staking their coins, staking their Ethereum, their Solana, whatever it is that they want to stake. However, Bitcoin is secured by the proof of work, right? And miners do that work, and some of those miners are publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. So, Tim, have you been looking at these charts for Marathon or CleanSpark at all?
Yeah, I was taking a look at CleanSpark here in a second. We did some CleanSpark TA last week. Let me remind people of some key things here. If you go to my screen, there's a long-term support trend line in play. That's this blue line right here that we have talked about the price coming back down towards. And you zoom in here, you're even going to see that we are in a rising channel that had a big breakout here actually last week, right? There's a moment that's like, all right, are we going to break the trend and go to the upside? Well, today we've opened up lower and we're looking to break to the downside here. So I'm still watching in this area. There's a big order block down here around 780, 790. I think in that category is going to be put as close enough for government work, as I put it, to get back down towards this support level, this long-term support level. And then I think it shoots to the upside. When we look at the oscillators, we technically had a kind of a buy signal right in here, but it's not a very convincing one. And you can see after rejecting on the RSI at the 50 line right there, kind of sputtering out with the rest of our oscillators, even though we set a higher high here, higher high on the oscillator, but a lower high in price action. That's bearish divergence, T-Shroom. I think that we keel back over, come back lower on the oscillator charts, come down to this order block once again, back down to the same lows, maybe a little bit lower than the September 6th date, and then CleanSpark should be ready to go. As far as Marathon is concerned, do you want me to look at Marathon or Mara? If we're talking about Bitcoin, let me look at Mara. What am I looking at here, T-Shroom?
Yeah, no, Marathon Digital. That's good. MARA.
Okay. All right. So, is this the same one? I don't know if this is the same one though.
No, now you got me second guessing here. Hold on.
Yeah, I don't think that's the same one at all. Marathon Digital. Well, maybe it is the same one. All right. Well, it is. All right. There we go. Let's take a look at it. I never call it Marathon. I always call it Mara because it's what's on my chart. Kind of sitting in a similar boat to what we have going on with CleanSpark, and obviously it makes sense because they're in a very similar field. Let's pull this stuff down for a second. We have had some positive signs here more recently. Had actually a very nice buy signal back here on September 9th with the rest of the space. We hit a major support level on a channel that we've been in since back here in January, right? So these are all things that are very positive, but we're still seeing these lower highs and lower lows here. We're still technically in a very minor bear trend. I'm not saying we have to drop all the way down to the take profit here on the daily chart. I think coming back down down towards a support level similar to what we saw with CleanSpark's chart makes sense. Then after that, I think making a move up to the top of this range, back up to that daily smart trail would make sense as well. But right now, a lot of reasons to be a little more negative than positive when I'm looking at these charts. We hit our take profit on the 4 hour. It does look like we have a sell signal coming in here on the shorter time frames as well. So reasons to think that a price could at least come back down here at 1522. But again, similar to CleanSpark, maybe revisit those same lows we had from September 6th, pull back, and then we should be ready for a boost to the upside after that.
Very good. Yeah, and we're actually getting a decent amount of reports. I'm seeing it on Twitter and in the chat that folks' internet is not working through their mobile devices. A lot of people getting SOS where it usually says 5G or LTE. So let us know in the chat. Is that you? Looks like a lot of these outages are happening to folks in the Midwest of the United States. So that is going to round out a lot of our news. We have a couple more headlines that aren't as hard-hitting, but Argentina's president, Javier Milei, to meet El Salvador's president, Bukele. And that's going to end our news for today. But we do have a special message referring to our community on Discord. So, Tim, I want you to share a little bit about this graphic here. We're having an 8-hour flash sale. Tim, why is this important?
Well, this might be a little misleading here, T-shirt. Maybe we didn't communicate this. Flash sale might not be the right term here. Flash sale would imply like we've had higher prices, we're making them cheaper temporarily, and then we're going up. What you guys need to understand is we started with our membership group, our trading group, our investing group a couple of months ago, and the demand has just been so hot, so heavy. You guys have been fantastic, and we're looking to add some details about how we're going to engage and work with all of our members. So prices are increasing here in a little more than 8 hours. At midnight tonight, when October 1st comes, prices will be increasing, some of them almost doubling in price what you get access to. But anyone who signs up either before today or today will be grandfathered into the higher levels. So make sure if you want to be a part of the trading group, if you want to be a part of the members only groups that we have over in our Discord, I would act on that today, and then tomorrow you will all be grandfathered into those higher levels. So make sure to go check those out in the link down below. I wanted to respond also to, I believe, Cash Oak, saying he's asking about MEXC and how he KYC with MEXC because they did mandate it, and now he can't do anything with MEXC. That is one of the problems. MEXC obviously was a very good exchange, but when they were forced to KYC, a lot of people, especially here in the US, were forced to stop using it. Well, we have two fantastic options that you could use instead of those ones. It would be CoinW and Blofin. Both of those were the links down below. No KYC required. I think there's certain, like New York, you can't use it because New York has very weird laws. But other than that, if you're in the United States, you could use both of those. And even more so, right now, and I forgot, we haven't pushed this in a little while, T-Shroom, but there's still a deal with Blofin. Go to my screen here. We have one more month. They extended it through all the month of October. We have a trading challenge. If we as a team can trade up to $60 million in volume, one of our traders will win the cash equivalency of an Apple Mac Pro worth $8,000. Go sign up with the link down in the description today. Start trading on Blofin. No KYC, no VPN required. Use it today, and potentially you could win $8,000 cash. What you do with that money, that's up to you. You can buy an Apple Mac Pro, or you can invest more crypto. But start trading with Blofin today. CoinW also an amazing option for all of our users here who want to trade in the United States and not deal with the KYC stuff happening with MEXC and others. So, T-Shroom, before we wrap it out, do we have a factoid today, or did Elf take the day off?
Oh, Tim, we have a big, juicy factoid of the day, and it is a continuation of our theme on ports and the strike that could be coming to an end, or could be getting even worse. Tim, today's factoid is brought to you by Decrypted.tax. Look no further for excellent crypto tax services than the link in the description for Decrypted.tax. Tim, which shipping port is currently the busiest in the world based on container traffic? Is it A, the port of Los Angeles, B, port of Rotterdam, C, the port of Singapore, or is it D, Tim, the port of Shanghai? What do you got?
Let me put chat down for a second. That's a rough one. That's a rough one. You would think it'd be an American one, but there's a part of me, I don't know where Rotterdam is. Singapore or Los Angeles, though, is where I would think it would be the two largest one. I would imagine Singapore is a major one for Asia. I want to say the Port of Los Angeles, but I feel like this might be a trick one. I think I might go see the Port of Singapore.
All right. You locking it in, Tim? Here we go.
I'm locking it in. I don't feel confident about it, though.
Bruh.
Shanghai. All right.
There you go.
No.
There you go.
Mission failed. We'll get
the port of Shanghai is the busiest port in the world in terms of cargo tonnage. The port comprises 125 berths with a total quay length of about 20 kilometers. So
I don't even know what that means.
And
okay.
Let us know in the chat. Do you know what that means? Because I don't either, but it is accurate. So there you go. And Rotterdam, I don't think it's even in the UK. I think Rotterdam is in the Netherlands. So I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it is.
That's what Moho says.
You got Rotterdam. Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know my ports. Don't know which ports are the busiest. So I let you guys down today. But I'll be back tomorrow with another chance, another time to do it. Thank you so much for being in here, guys. Smash the like button on your way out. We did not get to our 600 like goal. We're gonna do it though. We're gonna give some money away here because you guys are gonna get us to a 600 likes in a video very, very soon. Make sure to hit subscribe as well. If you are watching and lurking in the background, I know there's a couple of you out there, probably at least 400 of you watching right now, that you have not hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're subscribed. Grow the channel here, and you know what? Maybe we'll bring back some incentives with giveaways, larger giveaways for some subscriber goals. But you gotta be subscribed to win those. Hit that button right now. With that said, right after this stream, all of our VIP traders, T Shroom is going live with a Q&A right after this. I'll be going live tonight at 7 p.m. And then tonight, 8 p.m., we will be joined by Bill Noble for our Monday Night X Spaces at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You do not want to miss it. With that said, we love you guys. See you next time. Adios.